Imagine giving your all to your family, only to find out your wife betrayed you and your daughter, not even yours. Just when life couldn't get any worse, you're hit with a deadly illness. But instead of dying, you're reborn, and this time you're done playing nice. This is the story of a man who lost everything and came back to conquer the stars as the fearsome evil lord Liam. At the beginning of the story, we witness a massive fleet of spaceships and towering mecha robots floating in the vastness of outer space. The tension in the air rises when a girl urgently announces the arrival of enemies through a warp gate. The captain, caught off guard, reacts with visible shock. Moments later, a warp gate materializes in space, but instead of a massive army, only a single ominous mecha knight emerges. The captain, puzzled, questions the enemy's strategy, wondering why only one warrior was sent to attack them. Despite the confusion, the fleet opens fire on the lone figure. However, the mecha knight skillfully evades every attack and swiftly breaches the command chamber. In a matter of seconds, he annihilates the captain and his team. Alarmed, the remaining forces dispatch their own mecha units to stop the Black Knight. But with terrifying precision, the knight draws his sword and effortlessly dismantles them one by one. Facing an entire army, he finally unleashes his ultimate slash, a devastating attack that slices the main spaceship clean in half. The resulting explosion destroys every enemy mecha in the vicinity. Inside that fearsome black machine sits our main character. With a chilling calmness, he mutters that his enemies are pathetically weak. He praises his maid AI Amagi for her flawless strategy. She accepts the compliment respectfully, calling him Master. The protagonist Liam then orders Amagi to launch a full-scale assault. She immediately relays his command to all allied ships, instructing them to prepare for an attack. Suddenly, a new mecha unit arrives through a warp gate, piloted by a girl who wastes no time destroying an enemy robot. Liam notes her late arrival while she apologizes and begins eliminating more enemies with deadly precision. Amagi, maintaining her efficiency, commands all allied forces to engage the enemy fleet. Overwhelmed, the enemy begins to collapse under the coordinated assault. As chaos erupts, Liam lets out a maniacal laugher. Amidst the destruction, a woman appears and tries to pitch the 7th Weapon Company's battleships to Liam. Uninterested, Liam coldly instructs Amagi to take her order and remove her from his sight. With the enemy forces nearly wiped out, Liam mocks their weakness and revels in the destruction. He commands them to kneel before him and beg the evil Lord Liam for mercy. Then, summoning a massive bazooka, he fires directly into another enemy ship, causing a spectacular explosion. As he finishes off the last of the enemy mechas, he dares any survivors to fight back, saying that each battle makes his revenge for his past life all the more satisfying. At this point, the story flashes back to Liam's previous life. He's just an ordinary man, exhausted from a long day, commuting home on a crowded train. When he arrives, his wife Mika greets him at the door. He asks about their daughter, Kanami, and Mika replies that she's already asleep. She then mentions wanting to adopt a dog after seeing one at a friend's house. Liam reminds her that they can't afford a pet right now. The next day, the couple visits a pet shop to look at dogs. Liam reminisces about a beloved dog he once had. Despite his struggles, Liam cherishes the small, happy life he shares with Mika and Kanami. His job is difficult. His boss frequently berates him, and his co-workers often take credit for his hard work while pinning their mistakes on him. But he never complains. His family is his source of strength. One day, a friend invites Liam to watch a movie. On his way there, he happens to pass by a cafe and sees Mika sitting with another man. Shocked and confused, he returns home later and casually asks her how her day was. She lies, saying she went to Kanami's school. Liam doesn't press her further. Trying to reassure himself, Liam convinces himself that Mika would never betray him, but trouble starts at work. His computer stops shutting down properly. A few days later, he visits the same cafe and breathes a sigh of relief not seeing Mika inside. But just as he's leaving, he spots Mika walking nearby with Kanami, and the same man from before. To his horror, Kanami refers to the man as Papa. This moment shatters his world. Liam begins questioning everything. Lost in thought at work, he struggles to stay focused. Then, his boss scolds him again. Liam tries to explain that his PC is malfunctioning, But suddenly he receives a call. Konami has had an accident. At the hospital, doctors ask for blood from both parents. Mika's blood matches, Liam's does not. The truth hits him like a sledgehammer. At home, he confronts Mika, demanding to know if Konami is really his daughter. Through tears, he begs for an explanation, heartbroken that everything he worked for was a lie. But Mika responds coldly. She blames him for never being home, for working long hours yet earning so little. She says he failed to make her happy in their 10 years of marriage. She claims she raised Konami alone, and now she's leaving. She takes Konami's hand and tells her it's time to go to her real father. Liam pleads with his daughter, asking her to stay, but Konami quietly says she prefers her other papa more. Broken and betrayed, Liam spirals further when his boss accuses him of embezzling 5 rupees crore using the office computer, evidence that points to his workstation, which had remained active due to the technical issue. He's fired on the spot. Now divorced, homeless, and disgraced, Liam lives in a tiny rental room. Mika takes full custody of Konami and still demands child support. On top of that, Liam must repay the missing company funds or face prison. From a devoted husband and loving father, Liam is reduced to nothing. But in the shadows of his suffering, a fire begins to burn. Just then, his friend messaged him with excitement, sharing that he had just bought a brand new game, the same one the main character had always wanted to play. He considered replying and asking if they could play it together, but ultimately, he decided to remain silent. Each day, he worked tirelessly, hoping that his hard work would eventually be rewarded by fate or divine grace. Though he wasn't a man of fame and had no children, his heart was full of love and kindness. But life had other plans. Instead of a reward, he received a cruel diagnosis, an illness so serious that treatment was beyond his financial reach. With no hope left, he lay in his room, quietly waiting for death. As he stared into the void, he recalled an old saying about beloved pets returning at the end of one's life to guide their soul. Just then, something strange occurred. A mysterious light appeared before him. Within that light, he saw something shocking. The person who had stolen millions from his computer was none other than his superior, the chief. But what hurt even more was the realization that the chief was also the biological father of the daughter he had raised as his own. Everything had been a lie. He had been betrayed by the 2 people he trusted the most. He discovered that Mika, the woman he had loved deeply, had never felt the same. She had never intended to have a child with him. The little girl, Konami, was not his daughter after all. Crushed by the truth, he could only beg the universe for it all to be a dream. But a voice coldly reminded him that it wasn't a dream. It was his reality. The voice questioned him, reminding him of how much he had given, only to receive betrayal in return. When asked what he wanted now, he declared that he wanted revenge. The figure in the light was amused by this raw anger. It explained that it had come to reward him for his good deeds. But the man's bitterness seemed stronger than any sense of goodness left. The figure asked what he would do if given a second chance at life. The man replied that he would live for himself, doing whatever he pleased, without caring about others' expectations. The figure accepted his answer and presented him with photos of different worlds. Each world was unique, some full of monsters, others with dinosaurs, and many more. The man chose a world that showed advanced robots and flying battleships. The figure described it as a sci-fi fantasy world where magic and machines coexisted and royalty ruled supreme. He promised to place the man in a noble family and handed him a contract written in blood. The man signed it without hesitation. His soul was then transported to a new world where he would be given a second chance. This time, he would live only for himself. He was reborn as Liam Sarah Wainfield, the only son of a ruling noble family on the planet Astalar, located in the Elven system, a lush, jungle-covered world. Fast forward to his 5th birthday, where his mother excitedly brought him into a grand room to present his birthday gift. When Liam opened the box, he found nothing inside. His mother then explained that he would be receiving an AI-made robot instead. Suddenly, countless visual options appeared before him. She told him he could design every single part of the robot himself. If he skipped a part, the robot simply wouldn't have it. While scrolling, Liam came across some inappropriate design options. Despite being mentally 36 years old, his body was still only 5. He was stunned that such features were even available. Just then, his father entered the room with a proud grin. He had a gift of his own. He officially announced that everything he owned now belonged to Liam, and that Liam would be the next head of the family. The parents would move to the Imperial home planet, and Liam would stay behind and send them money each month. After Liam signed the documents, he became the new head of the household, a count with noble status. Looking around at his new life, Liam made a vow. In his past life, he had suffered in silence, but now, with wealth, power, and freedom at his fingertips, he promised himself that he would live without regret. He would live as an evil lord, indulging in chaos and doing as he pleased. He silently thanked the mysterious figure who had given him this second chance. Back on Earth, the figure stood beside Liam's lifeless body and laughed mockingly. He found the man's former life pitiful. Now it was time for others to entertain him. Meanwhile, Mika and the chief were planning their marriage. Neither of them felt guilt for what they had done. But just as their future seemed secure, the figure snapped his fingers. Police stormed in and arrested the chief for embezzlement and workplace harassment. The evidence against him was undeniable. Mika panicked and asked what would happen to her and her daughter now that the chief was gone, but her cries were ignored. The figure chuckled, reminding her that the one man who had truly loved her was now dead. From now on, she would never experience happiness again. He walked into a portal, whispering that it was time to guide Liam down a path of pain and suffering in his new world. He couldn't wait to feast on the bitterness that would come once Liam realized the truth. However, just before the portal closed, Liam's dog appeared in spirit form and followed the figure. Determined to protect his master, the dog entered the new world alongside him. Elsewhere in the galaxy, a fierce space battle unfolded. Princess Christiana Lata, rose-bred of the Holy Kingdom of Lirve, appeared on the battlefield, effortlessly taking down enemy ships. Her kingdom's fleet followed up with devastating strikes, wiping out what remained of the enemy. Her elite knights charged forward, defeating every last soldier. Victory belonged to Christiana. Meanwhile, in Liam's mansion, he received his custom-made AI-made robot. These robots, called dolls, came in elegant packages. As Liam touched the packaging, the AI activated. A graceful, fairy-like figure emerged and introduced herself as Amagi. The family's butler, Bian, explained that Amagi would stay by Liam's side forever and only needed 2 hours of maintenance per week. Aside from that, she would belong solely to him. Liam carefully examined every detail of her design to make sure it was exactly as he had ordered. Satisfied, he took Amagi into another room. When Bian tried to follow, the door closed behind them. Inside, Liam enjoyed a massage from Amagi. He even joked about taking a bath together, to which Amagi agreed without hesitation. Moments later, Bian knocked on the door and asked if anything inappropriate had happened. Liam casually responded that while his body might be 5 years old, his mind was 36. Bian reminded him that even 36 was still considered young. In this world, adulthood began at age 50, and a person was only considered fully grown at 100. People here lived up to 500 or 600 years. Amagi added that such long lives gave people a chance to experience far more. Liam found that interesting. A long lifespan meant endless opportunities for enjoyment. However, Bian warned Liam to be cautious. AI robots weren't popular anymore. In the past, they had nearly caused humanity's extinction. Only a few brave individuals had stepped forward to save the world back then. The empire had been built by the very people now rejecting it. Because of this, the imperial nobility held a deep resentment toward AI robots. Despite their importance and potential, they were seen as threats rather than allies. Sulia, puzzled by the contradiction, wonders why his own mother had gifted him an AI robot, but the answer is withheld from him. Eventually, the truth comes to light. Liam's parents had abandoned him. The reason was the crushing debt that burdened the Winfield family. Once a great and wise lineage founded by Alistair, Liam's great-grandfather, the family had since fallen due to the incompetence of his grandfather and father. They lacked the ability to govern, and the family's domain crumbled under their leadership. This truth hits Liam hard. He realizes he can no longer pursue his old dreams of dominance and power over others. Worse, they have no means left to repay the family's overwhelming debt. The situation is only going to deteriorate from here. Meanwhile, at a local bar, commoners discuss their grim reality. A 5-year-old boy has become their new king, and experience tells them taxes will rise as every new monarch starts with heavy taxation. Life has worn them down, and now, all they can do is hope that the new ruler has a kind heart. At the mansion, Liam reflects on his circumstances. It becomes clear that his existence may have only served the purpose of inheriting his parents' debt. In his previous life, betrayal was all he knew. People had only used him for their own benefit. Now, he fears history may repeat itself. Recognizing a shared sense of isolation and rejection, Liam finds common ground with Amagi, the AI robot. They are both outcasts in society. He decides they should team up and pull themselves out of the situation together. Amagi accepts this new bond with complete devotion, declaring her sole purpose is to serve him. As long as she is by his side, she believes she can never be cast out again. She pledges her loyalty through every hardship. Liam, thinking about humanity, begins to introduce her to the traditional 3 laws of robotics, but he stops himself, realizing he's once again prioritizing others over his own needs. For once, he wants to live for himself. Instead of the old rules, he creates new ones tailored to his own vision. A maid robot must never harm her master, must follow all his commands, and must protect herself as long as it doesn't violate the first 2 rules. These new principles are immediately embedded into Amagi's system. Determined to restore his family's lost honor, Liam declares that humanity no longer matters to him. He wants results. Amagi warns him that her ideals may not align with government standards, but since Liam knows little about the world, she recommends an education capsule. It will transfer all essential knowledge into his brain over a 6-month period while she manages his domain in his absence. Liam hesitates. Entering a robotic capsule feels like a betrayal of his human identity, but he reassures her that, as her master, he won't let humanity perish. Beyond, however, believes the Empire will never accept AI as full administrators. Amagi counters this, pointing out that no law forbids AI robots from managing domains. Liam insists on going through with it and asks Beyond to bring the capsule. Despite Beyond's continued protests, Liam ignores him and walks away with Amagi. As Liam prepares to enter the capsule, he questions whether AI can truly experience emotions. Amagi admits she doesn't know, but something inside her changed when he offered to form a team. Liam accepts this as a sign that he did indeed receive the best AI robot available. The capsule closes, and for the next 6 months, Liam will remain in suspended learning while Amagi oversees everything in his absence. And with that, this episode comes to an end. If you're hooked on Liam's brutal revenge and rise to power, don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment on your favorite part of his transformation. Would you choose vengeance or redemption in your second life? Let us know below.